Gates Adams here on behalf of Apex Trader Funding, and I'm here with William today. William is yet another paid funded trader through Apex Trader Funding, and we get an opportunity to have a chat today. William, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, actually. Had a good trading week.
Excellent, excellent. So it is Friday. How is this week for you?
It's really good. I cleared over 2,000. So it's, it's always a good time. You don't have to make a whole bunch of money. Just be consistent, and I'm cool with
That's
that.
that's not a bad week for anybody. Now, is this what you do primarily for a living, or is this something that you kind of do on the side?
Yes, no, this is primary.
This
I
is
was an electrical engineer, and I left that career and got into trading.
that's wild. Okay, so how long have you been trading?
It's been right at 2 years. Right
Okay,
at 2 years.
so obviously, if this is your income, you've operated at a level of consistency at this point to be able to essentially, pay the lifestyle through trading itself. How long have you actually operated in this fashion? How long has trading been your primary income?
Trading has been my primary income for like a good maybe a year out of the whole time. Because the
Okay,
first year was mostly learning,
sure.
uh, seeing which one did I like doing. Did I like options? Did I like futures or forex? So that took a while. The rules are all the same, really, but
Mhm.
you got to see which one you like better. So
Well, you've
yeah,
got
like
different
right around a year.
dynamics. You've got theta and gamma and things like that with your options, whereas with futures, it's pretty straightforward. Some people like that dynamic, some people hate that dynamic. So obviously that comes down to the individual trader.
Yeah.
So what actually brought you into the world of trading to begin with?
Well, the world of trading, COVID, really.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was getting into options.
Mhm.
Of course, I did what everyone does. I might buy some shares of Apple and just hold it. Um, and I was like, there's no way people could become millionaires just buying stock and holding it.
Right.
Maybe when you're 70, yeah, I can see that. So I was like, it has to be other ways where these people are making more money and be able to live off of this than just buying stock and holding it. So it was COVID that really got me into it a little bit before. And then when you're sitting at home, we can't go nowhere. It's like I might as well learn
So what did you trade first? What was like the first one out of the gate that just drew you in?
options.
Options.
Options was the first thing. Yeah.
So is this something that you discovered through like just watching some YouTube videos? Did you go to a seminar? Did a buddy bring you in? How did that happen for you?
Well, it was online looking at YouTube and Instagram and TikTok and all that other stuff. Everyone sits there and it just pops up when you Google and search things. They know the marketing to put in front of your face.
Right.
And then I just started seeing things about futures, and I didn't even know what they were. And I was doing pretty good in options. Options is what really got me to the point where I can leave my job, but I was still kind of back and forth.
Right.
But then it's just I paid an instructor to show me how to trade, and he introduced me to different prop firms, and I was like, oh, they don't have prop firms for options. Okay.
Right. And that was the thing, actually. I know you'd mentioned that you had worked with some other firms in the past, and I wasn't particularly familiar with anybody who did funding for options. So that kind of killed that path.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I mean, when you're spending $400 or $500 a week, yeah, I was making money, but then if it goes bad, you lose money. That's your real
Sure.
money.
Yeah.
So options was fun. Options are still fun. It's just now I have more money to do options instead of trying to do 100 here and there.
Right. Right. So how did you end up now? You okay, so we kind of addressed the fact. When did the concept of a prop firm hit your radar, and how did that take place?
Um, well, when I paid the instructor, and he actually showed us different aspects of trading.
Mhm.
He showed us forex, and then when he got into futures, he explained the tax differences. And he was like, prop firms pay you as contractors, and it's not the same as options and buying stock. And
Right.
then that's when he gave us a list of different prop firms,
Mhm.
and I just went down the list and looked at all the different things. And Apex wasn't even. I don't even think Apex was out then
About to
because
hit the
Apex been
2 year
around for like
anniversary, so it would have been
yes,
right at that time. Yeah.
yeah, yes, they weren't even out yet. So when I was trying all the other ones, like the daily law drawdown that they had, it would just mess me up.
Sure.
because the daily drawdowns sometimes is like $500 or $1,000 or something like that, and it's like, oh man, I could come back from $500 loss. I've done it,
Sure.
but when you hit that five, it's like, all right, try again tomorrow. So
Right.
yeah, that was horrible. So when I read them and it said no daily, I was like, oh, okay, well let's see what this is like.
So that was the big key for you, huh?
Yeah, that was the
Right.
main thing. Before I
So,
even found out all the other stuff, it was like no daily got my attention.
mhm. Yeah, and then of course there's 100 other factors you could put into play there,
Yeah,
but there's always that one for everybody.
yeah.
So that's awesome. Okay, so now how long have you actually been trading with Apex?
A year.
A year. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. There was
So
my first. There was my first funded prop firm.
that was the first time you got funded?
Yep.
So did you try out some of the other guys out there?
Yeah. Because I've been doing it for a total of two, and I tried the
Right.
other ones for a while. And I would get close, and then literally out of nowhere, a lot of it was my fault. Not really understanding how to trade. So I think that's the good thing about not having a daily drawdown
Mhm.
is, it's just you take a loss, but you can still try that day.
There's a little bit of forgiveness in that.
Yeah. They're not so strict on you. And then the contract size. So
Sure.
it's been a year with Apex, but it's only been about a good right around 6 months that I've been funded with Apex.
Gotcha. Okay. So where was that? What was that point where it turned the corner for you? Was there something that like just kind of clicked, or was it just that slow progression and all of a sudden things just started moving kind of in that other direction? How did that work for you?
Something clicked. And what clicked was stop trying to make $1,000 a day.
Right. Okay. So what did that look like for you?
Like literally, I would keep trading. I'll be up $200-300, 400. I'm like, all right, my goal is 1,000 a day. And then I realized like sometimes you're not going to reach that 1,000 a day because my skill set isn't at the level to get 1,000 a day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got to trade your skill set. So I just sat back and was like, okay, if you want a 50K account, it's $3,000. 3,000 divided by 20 trading days.
Mm-hmm.
That's still a month. Like,
Right.
okay, I could do $200-300 a day.
Right.
Just and that's what I really was like, okay, let me calm down instead of trying to get a 50K account in a week. Let me just because you'll end up going months on at a time trying to get it done in a week.
So that actually brings up an interesting point. Technically speaking, the skill set is the same at 200 versus 1,000. It's just scaled, right?
Yeah.
So what was the difference for you between 200 and 1,000?
I for first I could get the 200 was a lot less stressful.
Mm-hmm.
I got it a lot faster, and I
Right.
can enjoy the rest of my day because the whole purpose of me getting into trading was as an electrician. I traveled. I was in the airport 4 times a week.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Okay.
So with a toddler running around the house, I was like, I don't
Oh,
want to travel.
man.
Yeah, yeah. During COVID, so I was like, I don't. I was still traveling for work. So I was like, I don't want to travel. I want more time. So I don't want to sit in front of the computer 6 hours trying to get $1,000.
That makes sense. About how long do you spend typically trading these days?
Eight About 8:30. Well, I'll get on there about 7 o'clock to
Okay.
do all my charting, and I'm normally done by like 9:30.
Okay. So about
About
3 hours,
10 o'clock.
sorry, about 2 hours, I should say, factoring in your prep work and everything.
Yeah.
That's not a bad day to make 2 grand from 2 grand in a week. At least just utilizing this last one. Don't take that as any sort of promise or financial advice. That is just an
Yeah. No,
example. Every
everyone's
now and again,
different.
I catch myself saying something that warrants the commentary, but
Yeah.
that's exciting, man. That's exciting. So in this last year, since you started working with Apex, then you got funded, then you started getting paid. What is growth for you in this space?
Growth for me is instead of trying to make more money per account, just get more accounts.
Okay. So how many accounts are you
That's
working with
growth.
now?
5, and my goal is 10.
Your goal is 10. Okay. Now, are you trading them individually? Are you using some sort of a copier? How does
I have
that?
the copier.
You're using the copier. So you
Yeah, I
place it
have.
and it's going to operate over whichever accounts you choose.
Yes. And I don't put the copier on all 5 every day.
Mhm.
I might do like 3 today and a different 3 the next day, or 3 the next day.
Sure.
I just have one main account that I use.
Mhm.
like my first one, because that's the one that I've been consistent with withdrawal. So I
Right.
trade that one every day, and then I use the copier for these two, and then the copier for the other two.
Just kind of flip around which ones you're pushing.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, so I use the copier as well. And I'll tell you, it was really interesting to me because I remember the first day I scaled up. So I went from 1 mini to two. And knowing that the whole thing was exactly the same, just double, in my head, I'm looking at this P&L on the chart on the chart trader, and it just didn't register. And when I had one bad trade, that exceeded my max at one contract, and so in my head, I kind of flipped out. I took another trade. I took one I shouldn't have because I was anxious to get back above that.
Yeah.
And I actually streamed my trading, and I had a meltdown on camera. It was actually looking back, it was a great learning experience. I
Oh
can
yeah.
laugh about it now because we're 5 months down the road, but in
Yeah.
the moment, it was just one of these things where I turned around and I readjusted, and then I was operating in multiple accounts and using the copier. And when I was trading 5 accounts with the copier, it was so much easier for me because my chart trader still had the same profit loss level as one contract, but now I'm trading 5x.
Yeah.
So more than the 2x that I was seeing. I mean, just the dynamic was so different for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've experienced something like that. It sounds like there's a little bit of that dynamic in there as well.
Yeah. With the market, I realize the market will humble you if you're
Mm-hmm.
not careful.
Sure.
So, and that's the thing. Instead of trying to do two contracts, I figured, okay, I have one account. Instead of trying to build this one account to where 2, 3 contracts, if I just got 2, 3 accounts, I can still just do one contract,
Exactly.
and you're still doubling and tripling your money. So yeah,
Right.
it's a lot of mathematics into it, and in not common sense, but you have to have some sense about what's going on.
Well, so much of trading comes down to the mental game. And I think for me, I figured out that I had to trick myself. I had to trick myself into believing it was one contract, one account, just somehow knowing that I was getting that duplicate effect and I was maximizing my capacity. But
Yeah.
that really is, I think, for a lot of people, that's that big sticking point. So let's talk about that mental game. I mean, is this something that you've struggled with as you've gone through the trading process?
Yes, it is. But I notice a lot of people don't get a instructor to help them
Mm-hmm.
through the process. So a lot of people learn on their own or with YouTube University. And don't get
Right.
me wrong, YouTube is amazing. I have a YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm.
but I always say you should have an instructor. Anyone that asks me about trading, I'm like, get an instructor. I will show you at least 2 to 3 instructors that I know are really good.
Right.
So I think that's what helped the learning curve with the whole mentality of trading, because that's the hard part. You
Well,
know what
I
I'm saying?
think like trading can be so isolated because most of us trade from home and we don't have people around us, so it's not like that typical work environment where you got the coworkers, the water cooler, going to lunch together, all that social aspect of it.
Yeah.
So it becomes very easy, especially someone who's lived in that world for a while, to feel sort of that isolation. And the reality is in the world we live in now, that trading community is absolutely available in a way that it really never has been before. And I think sometimes people, especially if they've been trading for a longer period of time, forget the fact or maybe don't realize or see it the same way, where that community, that mentorship opportunity doesn't require proximity.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah,
it just creates it, like I said, it creates an opportunity to have that community, which to me, I'm right there with you. I the people that I communicate with about trading online make trading completely a different dynamic for me.
it really does. Yeah, and Apex, and a lot of people, they say, "Oh, I don't trust the social media gurus." Well, I'm
Yeah.
like, well, Apex offers courses too. Like, you can still if you trust Apex to get a funded account, why wouldn't you trust them to teach you also?
Right.
It benefits them, if anything. Like, I
It's an
want you to be a good trader. So it's
excellent
like,
point.
but there's so many people that just run at it and just try to learn and teach themselves, and I'm like, you're wasting a lot of time and money trying to teach yourself.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you'll
Look,
be at 50 accounts, 60, 70, trade accounts trying to learn.
well, and that's the thing. I mean, I think that with trading, there's an opportunity to learn a strategy fairly quickly and easily. But what people maybe don't understand if they're going it alone is that you got to work on the discipline, you got to work on your head game, you got to work on that psychology, because because ultimately that's really where success is going to come from.
Yeah.
That's where that consistency at least is going to come from. I mean, we can all have great days, great weeks, bad weeks, whatever the case may be. But when it comes to that long-term consistency, that's all about what's going on between the ears.
Yep. Yeah. And that's why I learned to, like, when I trade, I just do 2 accounts a day instead of all 5. Because if I have a bad day, I only had a bad day in those 3. You know what I'm saying? Then the next day I have a good day. Okay, I had a good day in those 2, and I came back from the one that my main one. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of mental things you have to realize. Like, all right, this is better for me. Everyone's different. Some people can trade 10 accounts every single day. Right. You know, me, I just have to, flip flop between the 5 total and just switch it up. That way, it minimizes my loss. That's how the instructor would teach you how to trade and stuff like that, but then you have to come up with your own strategy that works for you as well. So it's a lot.
That's ultimately the key. Know yourself. Yeah. Know what works for you, know what doesn't. And sometimes it takes a fight to get there, but once you get there, it's amazing how much of a difference that makes. And you even mentioned with you, there was just that click when just something shifted and all of a sudden things started to develop and grow on a more consistent basis. So that's just so awesome to see. As I get to do a lot of these interviews and hear from different traders, there's so many consistencies in what I hear. Now, there's a lot of unique and individual just nuggets of value that I get from every single one of these, but I think it's valuable to note the consistency that I see from virtually everybody I talk to who's doing well. And that's kind of the point. So
consistent traders, that's one thing we have in common. We realize, okay, you don't really always need a lot. Like my friends that are just now getting in trading, I tell them $50 a day is $1,000 a month.
Right.
So if you got 5 accounts, that's $5,000 a month. Like,
right. Exactly.
Most people don't make $5,000 a month on a 9 to 5.
It is amazing how it scales as long as you do it in a way that doesn't affect your performance.
Yep.
So
you can get $50 a day.
If you had to pick like that one lesson, that one key piece of information, I think I'm already hearing it. You're talking to somebody brand new. They've kind of figured out their system. They've paper traded. Now they want to move into the world of being funded and having the opportunity to actually make money in this process. What's the biggest piece of advice you give them today?
Small steps, and build a safety net in your account. That's the best thing you can do, because trying to see everyone else and keeping up with everyone else that's been trading for 10, 15 years, like you're not gonna start off making 5,000 a day.
Right.
Well,
and honestly, that's one of the reasons I started streaming my trading, because I started off not good.
Yeah.
I wanted because when you go out there and you look for people to watch, you're seeing people who have been trading 10, 15, 20 years, and you didn't see the path that got them there in the first place. And I was always curious about that. So at one point I just decided, hey, look, I don't know if anybody's going to watch me do this. God help them if they do, but I'm going to show people the path. So
come on journey with me.
Exactly. And so I think that there's just so much value in in seeing the good, the bad, and the ugly. Everybody just wants to show the good, and there's certainly some value in the bad and the ugly. So
I got all types of red days now.
Well, and that's the thing. At some point, you have to realize that you can handle those and still make money. Without having to make up for them that day. I had to learn that lesson the hard way.
Because this is like number 4. This is like number 4 or 5 withdrawal. So it's like, okay, cool. I purposely didn't take withdrawals because I wanted to build it up first. Right. Because I didn't want to build it up just enough to take money out and then I'm back at square one.
Exactly.
So I just let it build up. I'll take out 500 here and then I'll wait a couple more weeks and take out another 5 instead of doing it every time it's available.
Exactly. Start slow, look at that steady, and work your way through, man.
Well, everything is steady.
Yeah, exactly. Well, man, this has been awesome and very insightful. I appreciate the time. I appreciate the insight. I know our viewers do as well. So hopefully we can get some get a little love on there and show some thanks. So if you're watching this video, make sure to tell William thanks for his time, because this has definitely been awesome and a lot of fun for me as well. So I appreciate your time, man. What I like to do is when I've got somebody that's obviously showing that consistency and that development, I like to follow up a couple months later and just kind of see where you are. Is that something you'd be up for?
Oh, of course, of course. Hopefully, I'll be at 10 accounts by then.
There you go, man. I want to see that update. We'll flash back to this one and see where you were now versus where you are a few months down the road. So,
oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
keep in touch, keep doing what you're doing, and let's connect here in a couple months and see what things look like then, and let people see how you're growing.
All right, thank you.
You got it, William. Man, I appreciate your time today. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right, take care.